Welcome to the Moment of Clarity podcast. I'm Nate.
I'm Jared.
I'm Jacob. Tune in as we break down the topics of life.
Hello, today I got a special guest with me. I got Drew, talented guy, talented brother right here. He's got good music. Check him out on I guess Apple Music, YouTube, Spotify. One of the greatest athletes I've ever seen. Probably still runs like a 4.3 at about 30 years old. Probably ain't played football in a minute. Can cut your hair, can make a beat, make some music. I want to get into, what was your experience like in the military, and how did it shape you? How did it affect you?
All right, so when I talk about my experience, a lot of people, when they think about the military, the first thing they want to hear is like war stories and stuff like that, right? Because that's what Hollywood, that's what they want to talk about, but that's irrelevant. Like, that's the fairy tale, man. What's important is like how it affects a person, like their mental state, things like that. Like, for me in particular, like, I definitely feel like I learned like myself as a person, because I had to do a lot of things I thought I could never do. Like, if you want to talk about like Hollywood or whatever, like, man, just on a regular basis, the things that we would do like as soldiers are the things they're making about movies. They're just trying to like sell it to you, right? But you got people walking next to you every single day that was doing these kind of things you never even know. Like, I see somebody tomorrow when I go to HEB, to the grocery store or whatever, they would just be like, oh, that's just some regular black dude, like whatever, right? But they used to say, thank you for your service and, all of these things, because I'm a patriot, I'm a hero, So I'm kind of like still in that transition period of figuring it all out, like going from that structured environment to being stressed out 24/7 about getting late, like being 15 minutes early, like Dr. Lee said in the movie. Oh no, you already too late. Like 15 minutes early, you already too late. So people listen to that line and drum line and they think Dr. Lee is saying something like, no, bro, like Dr. Lee ain't got shit on the things that you go through in the military. Like, from day one, basic training, like that's nothing. Like, just put it like that. Like, Dr. Lee is nothing. The white t-shirts and all that, that's nothing. But man, I'm gonna keep blabbing. I'm trying to keep it on track.
You good?
Hey, go for it, man.
Ah, man, do your thing.
What when you went to basic training, what were you expecting, and what was your experience? And did you went to Jackson, or you were in Benton?
I went to Jackson.
Yeah. So explain what basic training was like.
So I think I was really one of those last groups of basic training that kind of got the more hardcore version. I think they it's kind of watered down now. It's a little bit easier. But so basic training, first day, right? You go to reception, replacement, or whatever they call it, where you at, and like you're gonna be awake forever. Like, you're not gonna sleep. You're gonna turn into a little zombie, basically. You just walk in, getting your gear and signing paperwork and doing this and doing that. You're just a zombie. And then after all that stuff is done, the drill sergeants are gonna come pick you up on the bus. You're gonna get on the bus, you ain't gonna think nothing of it. You just say, hey, whatever. Sitting on the bus. As soon as the bus stops, that's when all hell breaks loose. Yelling at you, yeah, throwing your shit everywhere, taking your bags, dumping them, and just they spazzing on you. And then, I come from a military family in my background, so I kind of knew what to expect a little bit. I've been coached up, so I wasn't really freaking out. But to see the average person that didn't have that kind of, like, I guess, mentorship, man, everybody was in a disarray. Like, snot coming out their nose, some people crying, people, I want to go home. And like, I mean, and this is literally 35 seconds in. So like, just imagine what goes on, But the whole process, like, for me, I was an athlete. I've always been an athlete. So like the physical aspect, that was nothing to me. Like drill sergeant say, do this many push-ups, whatever. I'm gonna knock the push-ups up and it's not gonna hurt me physically. And it was to the point where I was arrogant, honestly. In the beginning, I was very arrogant because I could run faster than my drill sergeants. So they were taking us on a run and, talking bad about us. And I'm just looking like, dude, I'm not even tired, right? But I had to realize every time I would be the arrogant, showboaty dude and have this attitude, my platoon would suffer. Like they would have to do more push-ups. And although it's easy for me, it's not easy for them. And I don't know, something just clicked. I saw this one dude, he was a little fat white dude named Howell. He could not do one push-up, not even one. Like that's how bad in shape of shape he was in. And I don't know, something just clicked for me. I'm just like, it doesn't make sense for me to be in shape like this and this dude can't even do one and he's struggling and he's actually trying. So I kind of started to pay attention to the drill sergeant, basically saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link, So for me, that kind of shift happened kind of early. I was still a little bit of myself, but that just those kind of like lessons you see in real life, like you see them like, obviously everyone sees them in real life, but you see them in a different way. Because like, honestly, you signed your life away to serve with these people, so it's more intimate, your expectations are that, you don't know what can happen, right? Whether you might deploy, you might not deploy, but the expectation is you don't know. So you just kind of get more comfortable, a little bit more intimate with your relationships with people. And you just get to see, I don't know, man, life could smack you in the face a little bit quicker because you go through some stuff together, just put it that way.
Real quick, did you think it was basic training easier than you thought it was going to be, or was it like harder?
So the physical aspect, it was definitely easier, but mentally it was hard. It was mentally hard, just example, like just me being from where I'm from and the people I'm used to being around. So literally, I'm coming from Savannah, Georgia. That's where I'm from, right? That's where I'm coming from when I joined. I moved around a lot, but that's where I came from. Predominantly Black city, a lot of poverty, things of that kind of nature, right? That's what I'm used to, right? So my bunk in basic training, I was the very first guy, Andrews. Boom, I'm number one. Then there was a dude, Arajo from he was from Guatemala. And then it was this dude from North Dakota, another dude from Maine, Vermont, and it was just like they would say like little racist jokes at nighttime when it's time to go to sleep, like stuff like that. And it's just like, yo, you offended me. Stop doing that. And it's like, yo, I really want to punch you in your face because I told you calmly you're offending me and you keep doing it. So like those kind of things for me were kind of hard. Like people just come from different walks of life and they just don't understand the importance of certain things, like people's beliefs and different stuff like that. So that was kind of hard, like meshing with everybody at first.
And they got the same like 3 racist jokes that they recycle over and over again, and somehow it's still funny. I never understood that, but
yeah, that's how I go. And at first, man, when I first got there, like I used to be big on reading the Bible and stuff, right? So like before I went to sleep, like that's what I would do. Like when they cut the lights off, I would read the Bible. It's minding my business. And they would just be saying stuff, man, like almost like I know I'm pissing him off, so let me say it some more. Hey, you know why Black people good at basketball? Because they can run, shoot, and steal. Just dumb shit, right? Like I'm just like, yo, why do I gotta keep listening to this, right? But I've learned over time, man, it's just different socializations, because like, I know you heard me say before, like the one dude, he told me he never seen a Black person before in his life. ever. He said he'd never seen a black person. And the only thing that, his perception was, what he saw on TV. He saw drug dealers and, gang banging, and he saw all of those things, and that's what he believed a black person to be. So he would not want to talk to me, stuff like that. But man, 6 weeks later, me and him cool, like, so it's just, for me, I'm a believer of like, never let nobody take advantage of you. Like never like just stand there and take abuse. But I do believe like just showing somebody something different can make a difference. You know what I mean? But not just stay on that particular thing, but we still on basic training though. Like it was a lot of things that was cool about it. You're getting to shoot different kind of weapons. I mean, you're gonna shoot everything from everything, like literally everything under the sun. So like, that's pretty cool.
Did you have a girl in basic, like towards the end?
Bro, I don't even know how that's. Somehow I did. I don't even know how that's possible.
Me too, dog.
I don't even know how is that possible? Like,
get that extra chow food. I was getting extra chow.
And they was giving me extra food anyway. They're like, "Oh, you skinny. You need to eat."
I don't need it.
Man, and I used to eat so slow too in the beginning, man. I used to take 3 bites. Drew started, get out of here. Before you know it, as soon as I sit down, all right, I'm ready. Like, out of being hungry.
Yeah.
Fast forward to AIT. What was like? I know most civilians don't know what AIT is. Can you like break down what AIT is and how was it transitioning from basic to AIT?
So AIT is what really made me look at the world kind of like something not right. Like, how do you take a group of 18, 19, 20-year-olds and literally certify them on any job under the sun 6 months, 8 months, a year, when you literally got people going to school for 4 years, 6 years, 8 years? Like, I was just like, whoa, this doesn't make sense to me. Like, the world is doing it wrong. Like, you're just pumping out those dollars, for those degrees and things like that. But AIT, like, I'm a signal guy, so I learned everything about just anything with a signal: radios, computers, switches, routers, any of that stuff. And I mean, I had no background at all, and by the time I left there, I was proficient. So and to me, that's something that's special. That's impressive to me, But it just shows you what the human can actually do if we're not limited, if there's no limitations. And I think that's society's goal, is to place a bunch of limitations on people. And then like when you're in the military, you see that those limitations ain't real because you're forced to exceed them, a lot of times. Like, just some people think walking to work is, oh man, I gotta walk to work today. It's like 5-6 miles. Like, what? Like, I've literally walked 20 something miles before. Like, did I think that I can do it? Nah, not at the time. Like, obviously I had to do 3 miles and then 6 miles and then 12 miles and then 18, but just knowing that I've done that, it's just kind of, I look at the rest of my life like, man, the things that I've done, like, that ain't hard. Like, that's not gonna be hard. I can do that. That's like with music. Some people look at me and say, dude, how old are you? You want to make music? I'm like, why not? Like, why not? Because I know if I've done the things I've done, my military background, which I can't explain everything, which Jared definitely know what I mean. It's just like, I know that I've got what it takes. Example, right? when I was a platoon sergeant, I know I'm way past AIT, but Sergeant Andrews, tomorrow you're giving a class on the M203, whatever, right? One day notice, I'm gonna get up and speak in front of all these people, right? That's not pressure, that's nothing. What? That's a regular Tuesday afternoon, you know what I mean? We do an exercise and I'm on a support team, I'm in a support brigade and we're supporting the division. But I'm a commo guy, right? They tell me the division's commo team isn't up. They want me to jump 02 in the morning. They want me to move to a whole new location. No lights, no nothing. And I gotta have this set up in 45 minutes and the general is gonna be the one who's checking all this stuff. You know what I mean? What do you think I did? Hey man, turn the lights on that Humvee, put them over here. I know we're in the dark, pull the antennas down. We made it happen. You know, there's no pressure. There's no like, I don't know. There's not many things that will happen and that I'm going to freeze up. I'm afraid to do that. Like, especially not anything that involves another human being. Like,
so do you think that the discipline you learned in the military has played an impact on your life after?
yes, I'm going to say for good and for bad. So I can definitely be on time, 1000%. I definitely pay attention to people. I pay attention to just detail in general. Like I pay attention to just different things. Like example, I went swimming with for a little kid's birthday party, maybe about a month ago, right? And I'm just paying attention to the water because all the little kids are, doing whatever, right? And all the adults are just, partying and having a good time. And they kind of looking at me like, why you on edge? Why you keep paying attention to this and paying attention to that? And I'm just like, just I'm cool, I'm all right. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Because in the military, you always have to plan for the worst case scenario. And if it happens, it's on you no matter what.
Exactly. And one of the little girls, she was like 6 years old, flipped over in the freaking floaty. She was drowning. Guess who's the one that jumped to throw my stuff off and jump in the pool and get her out of there without hesitation? So it's kind of like, those kind of things are definitely a benefit. But because I feel like I could think quickly and things like that, and I can like, I don't know, I kind of feel like sometimes I can get agitated with a person that doesn't move quickly or think quickly. Like I can kind of like come off at them like are you stupid? So like that's probably a bad thing, like it's a bad effect on you. But I mean those are things that you can always better, and that's what I do in particular. Was I mean, I feel like all people go through phases where they might have some type of, man, I'm just not having a good day. I'm not having a good week, or you just whatever. I just think it might happen a little bit more frequently, with the veterans and stuff like that. But I mean, I just feel like everybody deals with it. It just looks different for everybody. So like, it's just important for everybody to pay attention to their mental health, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that that definitely makes sense. So we talk a lot about that, just kind of like offline about like mental health, in particular in the Black community. There was a stigma, for so long that like, if you go see, a psychiatrist or something like that was unheard of. I mean, it's just something that like we didn't really do. And so like, I just think that is really good, that you acknowledge that, just the mental health aspect. And I wanted to ask you too, just about, like you being good on the physical side, the military, but, like you talked about the mental, and it's like, how do you handle those things? Like if you, were to tell somebody, hey, this is going to happen to you, you know, they're gonna try to break you down mentally or whatever. Like, how would you like explain to them kind of how to handle that?
So it's that's something that's tricky, like just from, you know, my observations and my experience. I feel like the longer that you're in, the harder it becomes, just in general. So like if you know, hey, I'm just gonna go in here for 4 years, you know, I'm gonna do my time and I'm gonna do, you know, I'm just gonna do everything right. I'm gonna do what they ask of me. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna have my free college, or, you know, whatever your reason is for, right? If you're only in there a short period of time, it's easier to like play the game. You know, like you can easily just, I'm doing what you say, even if I like it, I don't like it, or whatever the case may be. I'm doing what you say, but I have my goal, you know, for my life, you know, in general. Like I have my end state. Like the shorter amount of time that you stay there, the easier it is to kind of keep reality. The longer you stay, you kind of get sucked into like, this is what the military is like. This is what my life is like. It becomes a part of you. It starts to consume you. And for, I think this is where where a lot of the negative things come into place, like the stereotypes and like the agitation, like being agitated a lot, things like that, because you've been so long stressed out and, you know, putting the military first or the army first, like it starts to take a toll on everything else. Because if that's your priority, which it has to be, you're not going to be successful if it's not your priority. So once you prioritize the army, you start to see your family life is like, dang, I'm not giving my children enough attention. I'm not giving my partner enough attention. And you know, you start to see those things start to crumble. And as those things crumble, you can't really fix it because your priority's still there. So it's kind of like you're drowning. Like that's how I felt. And I know I've spoken to a lot of people and they felt the same, but you really have to have a narcissistic mindset to stay in the military for 20 years. I like to say military, but I'm really just speaking on the army. But if you don't have that narcissistic mindset, it's going to be very, very hard on you. Like if you can't miss your son's 18th birthday and not miss a wink, it's going to be hard for you. Put it that way. Like if you care about your family life and you care about, you know, just the life experiences and stuff like that, it's going to be hard for you unless, like I said, you have that mindset where nothing else matters. I don't care if they're right, they're wrong, anything. That's just how it's going to be.
Wow, that's a really like rigid mindset. You know what I mean? I guess I just wonder about, you know, the people that get in that mindset and maybe they don't realize that it's not reality. Like they think that it is reality. You know what I mean?
And that's the case. That is the case. Like that can never be me, right? So as I went up in the ranks, I'm always going to see a person as a person. There's literally people that will not look at your face. They won't look at you in your eyes. They're only going to look at the chest because it says your rank or your hat. And that's how they see you, not as a human being. They see you as soldier. That's it. Those people are the most successful. Those are the ones that, you know, have the most badges, the most decorations, those are the most successful people. But the thing about them is you better believe they sacrificed a lot. You know what I mean? And like I was saying before, like one day you hang it all up, people are just gonna look at you like a regular dude. You know what I mean? And that's when you kind of like, I did this, I served my country, and yada yada yada. You got all these fucking politicians out here saying veterans, you know, veteran this and veteran that and veteran this, and it's just like, bro, no one cares, honestly, because you don't have a big mark on your forehead that says veteran. So it's like no one's acknowledging you anymore. It's just like just a regular, you're no one, you know. So
You think it's like a problem because people haven't found their worth outside of the military?
I think a lot of people probably know their worth, but I think a lot of people maybe find they don't have a sense of direction. Like if you've known one thing for so long, like if you're used to waking up at 5 a.m. every single day for 10, 15, 20 years, it's just how it is. So now that you no longer have to, you're still gonna do it, but you're still gonna wake up at that time because it's embedded in you. Like, um, so I think I think a lot of people just kind of like they feel like they leave themselves behind a little bit, even if they didn't like it. I'm telling you, like even if the people who talk so bad about like the army and stuff, oh fuck the army, blah 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 blah, they feel like a part of them still there in some form or fashion because you have to give yourself to that organization. Like you raise your right hand, you sign a dotted line, you give yourself to that organization. So there's always a sense of like it's like a fraternity. Like that is what it is. So like I guess not having it can make some people kind of feel like, dang, where do I belong? You know, what is my purpose? And I think that's where a lot of, you see like the homeless veterans and stuff like that, where it's just like, they probably just got so used to not understanding like where they belong in society, like where's their place. And you do, man, if you go 60 days without, if you stay in your house for 60 days, like with for freaking coronavirus, like you're going to be less likely to want to leave your house. So like if I don't work a job for however long because I'm lost and I'm confused and my mental state is all in a disarray, who's to say that like 6 months doesn't turn into a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you know what I mean? Um, so yeah, that's what I would say, like from going through the transition, like currently, like going through the transition and just like, man, I'm the kind of person, man, I talk to homeless people. Like I was a security guard. I walk up on them, I talk to them, like I just, how old are you? Where you from? Like I just talk to them. And I've heard that a couple times, let's put it that way. Like I've heard that a couple times from veterans. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say about that, but
Well, I mean, I'm envisioning you, like interacting with them, and like, I mean, it's really good that you do that for real. I like the way that like you talk about humans, and like the way that you like pour yourself out for other people in a way that isn't always acknowledged. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I guess, like with the military, even beyond, like being a veteran, it's like I appreciate what you've done as a result of being a veteran. You know what I'm saying? Just like it encourages me to know that there are people out there like looking out for other people. You know, you talk about reading the Bible, and it's like that's what we're supposed to be doing for real. Like Jesus was talking to Peter, I believe. And he was just like, "Feed my sheep." You know what I mean? And I mean, from what I've gathered so far, that's what you're doing. But I think about like homeless people a lot, and it's like I even like honestly like prepare for them, like especially if I'm going into DC or something like that, um, because I find them to be like very interesting. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you know I know that you've had conversations with them. You know what I mean? I guess like what would you want to convey to people about like their interactions with homeless people?
so it's crazy because like every homeless person is different, right? So like I literally met some people who like graduated from UT, work at this technical company, and they just on hard times because of coronavirus. Like there's they sleeping in their car under the bridge where all the homeless people are at, but they just, hey, that's what they're doing for the moment. I met a couple kids, 18, 19, where it's just like their parents are just like, go figure it out. And they couldn't figure it out. Then, you know, the veterans, it's just like, when I was in, I used to look at, like when I was in Hawaii in particular, there was one that would stand on the corner, like by the barbershop in Wildwood, like we do that little turnaround. He would stand there every day, and I would just look at him like, yo, you gotta be my age, maybe a year or two older. So maybe it's early 20s, you know, something like that. And I'm just like, why won't you just go to Social Security office, get your Social Security card, get your birth certificate? You know, why won't you just do those things? Go to McDonald's, save up your money, and, you know, keep working, keep striving for, you know, for more. But like I said, like I just learned so much in the military. So like the definition of leadership is providing purpose, direction, and motivation. So I look at this person standing there, and I'll just think, what is his purpose right now? He probably doesn't even know. So where is it, like, how is he gonna guide himself the right way? So like I can't judge him. Like he probably doesn't have a purpose. Doesn't know why he's doing what he's doing, no direction. And just, does he want more? Like for real, does he want more? And why does he? Why doesn't he? Like it's just so much to just think about. It's just like I can't judge him, because it could be anything. He could have been a person that smoked weed and got kicked out of the army yesterday. You know what I mean? Like that's a whole nother thing, because I think it's bullshit. I think that's,
you got to get into that one, man. What, like, talk about, you know, how strict the army can be. Like if you're not on the right mindset, how it can like ruin your life.
I'm an Article 15 baby, so I can tell you firsthand. I've been on extra duty 45 days, scrubbing toilets, mopping, sweeping, cutting the grass. I'm talking about I had to cut the grass with the fingernail clippers one time.
Damn.
Yeah, that was like in 2012. But yeah, they had people out there full kit. You got your body armor, your ACH, you got all your stuff on in the heat. Somebody passed out, so they kind of.
Hold on. I gotta stop you real quick, because you're telling extra duty. I don't think they know what extra duty is. Like I need you to explain.
Fingernail clippers.
And like explain that this is after work.
Okay, so this is how extra duty works, right? Let's say you got in trouble, right? You smoke marijuana. You got in trouble. So we're going to give you a punishment. The punishment can be taking your money. It could be confining you to living in the barracks. It could be making you do extra duty. So what extra duty is, let's say you go to work at 6 in the morning or whatever, right? You do your PT. So you work out, you're gonna go take a shower, and then you're gonna go do your actual work day. So let's say normally you would get off about 5 or 6 o'clock to go home for the day because you're done with work, right? No, you probably got about 30 minutes to go get you something to eat real quick, and you got to report back to work. And you're going to work until about midnight. So you've already been up. You had to be to work at 6 a.m. So you've probably been up at least 5 a.m. So now it's midnight, right? So that's your first day. You do that for 45 days straight, no break. 45 days. And that's the list of things I was just naming, things that I've done. Man, I've had to fill sandbags, like sandbags, fill them up with sand, stack them up. And then like, it took me probably like 3 days to like fill them all up and stack them all up. Then it made me pour all the sand in the freaking dumpster. So I literally had to carry each sandbag. I don't know, they maybe about 40 pounds, each one to the dumpster and pour it out. So like, just imagine the resentment I felt towards them. You know what I mean? Like
Wow, man.
But when you're deep into the army life and the army is the way, you don't think nothing wrong with that. Like you just think, oh, you should have did what you did, like you should have whatever. But,
And you can still get kicked out after doing the 45 days extra duty.
and you can still get kicked out.
Wow, that's wild.
I didn't mention that they most likely are going to take half of your pay. So you're going to work twice the hours and receive half the pay. So that's going to make you even more fucking mad. Like,
Dang.
And that's if you don't, like, you lose your rank too.
Right. And they can take your rank.
Which is more money.
How do you even? Never mind. I was gonna say, like, how do you even get weed in? Like,
I mean, when you leave
don't answer
you're in the regular city.
Don't answer that.
But what's it just like? Speak on that point. It's like I'm like a lot of people have. I'm like I was just saying, we've been stressed out. Like you're constantly stressed out. So a lot of people have anxiety, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can be stationed in Colorado, where weed is legal, right? No, they're gonna kick you out. So you're basically self-medicating because of the anxiety you're going through, and you can even be like a top-tier soldier. You can have the highest PT score, the highest weapons. You can know your job. You can be number one. But if you do that one thing, they'll kick you out, and it's just like, boom. Doesn't matter if it was legal, illegal. Like the rules are that important. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a lot of like mental gymnastics, man, I guess you could say. Cause like, I'm wondering, you were saying like if somebody goes in, does a stint real quick, it's like they're more inclined to be able to differentiate between like reality and like the military. But then like you have the people that like buy into it, you know? And so I just wonder like about them, if they still know that it's not reality and they're just ignoring it, or if like they truly believe it. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, before you get into that, are you asking while they're in the military or after?
I was thinking while they're in the military, but I guess it could be after too, because if you come back into, quote unquote normal society and you bought into it, and then like you still don't necessarily observe that that wasn't reality, it could still be the same thing.
So real quick, there's one thing: if you're in the military and you don't buy into the military, it's gonna be the toughest time of your life. Facts like that, because in the military, it's a thing where if you don't buy in, it's like attack mode. Everybody's gonna attack you. The sergeants, it's your team, everybody's gonna be in attack mode. It's just like it's like a shark seeing blood. Everybody's gonna try to like.
They're gonna try to break.
Yeah.
They're gonna try to make you conform. So you might as well just do it. That's what I meant by just play the game for your 4 years. You have to conform. Like you have no choice. Like there's a freaking chapter failure to adapt. They can just kick you out. Boom. Like if you don't conform. But yeah, definitely. And it's definitely harder for like when I joined back to the basic training, like young black men, like they literally segregated us when my first day when we got off the bus. They said if you're a male and you're black over here, female black over here, Hispanic male over here. They segregated us by gender and race, which they're not allowed to do anymore, for the reasons. This was over 10 years ago. So they would literally say over and over to us, you ain't back on the block and all this stuff. And it's just like they're just trying to like pick at you to make you, they want you to explode, they want you to break. And the mentally weak person is the one that says, drill sergeant, I'll knock you out, I'll do this, I'll do that. Like that's the mentally weak person. And that's who they want to identify, because that's the person that, and that's what I mean. Like it sounds bad, but it's beneficial for the actual army, because if you are in a situation, you want that person that will take orders, that person that will do exactly what you say, because it could be life or death. It could be. So that's why I think that to a certain extent that's effective. It's not effective, but I understand the reason behind it, if that makes sense. Like I understand why it's so rigid.
Yeah, because you don't want the one who's gonna break under pressure on the front line.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So that's why they try to pick that stuff out of you. And in a perfect world, it would work. Like in a perfect world where there was like no person that joined who's secretly a racist, you know? Like if there wasn't that kind of stuff, then it would work and it would be all beneficial because there would be no, I don't care what you're saying about me. I know there's no hard feelings. You're saying whatever, you're trying to better me or whatever the case may be, right? But because there are a lot of those closet people who are saying this kind of stuff, it's definitely hard to just ignore it for the average person.
Yeah.
Did they ever like think you was like a gang leader or a drug lord or something like that in like AIT or something?
Not me.
They thought I was a gang leader in AIT. That shit was crazy. They wouldn't even let me out on weekends for like the longest time until I had like a high PT score.
Yeah. And I had the worst reputation at AIT, bro. Like, so it's like high school, man. Everybody run their mouth like about every little thing that happens. So I always just love music, right? So I went to another bay where there was a freaking girl in a closet and they were recording a song and like she was like singing on the microphone, right? So I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm trying to get on there. I'm start rapping and stuff like that. I'm looking at her like she's a dude. Like that's how I looked at her, like the home girl. You know what I mean? That's man. They might have made up a story and said I got caught in a closet with a girl in another bay or something. I was just like, what? Like it's high school, but so many people confined to a small spot. Like you just
Yeah, it's like y'all don't got no choice but to mingle and stuff like that.
yeah, I wasn't even in trouble. Like, but the rumors were spreading.
Right. So like, okay, so you chose the military. So how do you think like the way that you think now is different compared to like somebody who went to college? You know what I mean? Because I know that there are different, mindsets, and it's like the time that you went. I guess that was it right after high school.
I went 2 years of college.
2 years of college. Okay, so you had a little bit of college. Okay, so
College.
I'm sorry. Did you say something?
I'm a college dropout, like Kanye.
Same.
Yeah, Kanye, he's like really big, I think, into being open with his mental health, so it's like, I follow him, somewhat closely just to see what he's gonna say. But yeah, and his parents were, like highly educated and everything. And I just wonder about, like your thoughts or how you feel when you interact with people who like have never had any military experience and like they just did like 4 years of college and like, maybe they've had, just life handed to them. You know what I mean? I guess kind of like what do you think about the differences between like people with different backgrounds like that? Like the good and the bad. You know what I mean?
Um, so I don't know if I could really compare like the military and like college educated. It's kind of like not, they're comparable, but they're just not a very good comparison because I kind of feel like it's just a way of thinking in general, but not on the level of like education or like preparation. I don't know what I'm really trying to say.
It's like it's not related. It's like so far. It's like it's a way of thinking, but it's like a total different environment, I guess. Like in school, you have all the time in the world. You might not have to go to class one day. In the military, you got to show up every day, sometimes even on weekends.
So I guess I could say this. Personally, I feel like when you go the college route, just the educational route, just in general, you're probably not going to have as many of the life experiences as a person that joins the military. Um, Man, in 4 years you live a whole life. Just put it that way. Like literally, I've seen people graduate college, get married, have kids, buy a house, deploy, get a divorce, get remarried in 4 years. I've seen that. So it's like
Mhm.
you move at such a fast pace, like, and for me, like I'm just the kind of person, like I've always just liked people, man. Like I've just been a people person. I like to talk to people, listen to people, just that kind of thing. So like for me, just being in a room with literally a person from every one of the 50 states in America, like being in a room with a person from every state, that's just, where can you get that? Like, I don't think you can get that anywhere else unless you're looking at, I don't like politics, but a bunch of freaking congressmen and whatever sitting there acting like they voting or something. But like, where can you really get that? And where are you going to get that when people are going to be real with you? Like, people are going to be like family. Like that's what it is. It's like people are like family. So I think that experience alone is just like, that's priceless. Like you can't beat that. Just being able to like really, really connect with a lot of people. Like, man, just get to learn. You just get to learn so much about people in general, man. You get to people that might tick easy, people that just always happy, people that are, that were born poor, that were born rich, the ones that had the family with the military background, and the one that went to West Point, the officer that's all stuck up, and like you just got everything. Like the E7 that's from the hood and he still act like it, but everybody respect him because he's good at his job, and he's like, you just got everything. Like you get to meet every single kind of person that there is in America. And just being able to see that, you can kind of see like just a different perception of like people and people in general.
Yeah, yeah. I have my dad is a vet. He was in the Air Force for maybe 10 years, something like that. And then I have a sister. She did 4 years, and it's just interesting, like having the knowledge, that I have of people who were in the military, and even like Jared, talking with him and everything. It's like I always like respected people who were in the military because I felt like they were grounded in a way that was different than because I went straight to college from high school. And one thing I noticed was that it's like sometimes the people that were in the military felt like people who, have 4-year degrees were like smart in a way that was like beneficial that they didn't have. And I was just like, actually, like, I think like you're cool because of the way that you think, you know what I'm saying? So I just kind of like wonder about, like if other people kind of like see the differences. I think that, I see what you're saying with them not necessarily being like comparable because they definitely not, like opposites or anything like that. But I'm like you, I like people, and I notice like people's backgrounds and how it has influenced them. I just like to, like learn about all that type of stuff. So yeah, it's really interesting, man.
I feel like to join. So this is what I think. I think that you got to be a little bit crazy to join the military, and this is my definition of crazy. You got to just not care what other people think. Like that's it. As simple as that. Like you just got to not care about what everyone else says, what everyone else does. That boom. And I think that's when people join like that, I feel like just taking that leap shows you're open, right? So then I feel like that gives you like the ability as time goes on, like your aptitude to learn things just becomes greater and greater and greater because you were already open. And they force feed you with knowledge. You don't even realize it. Like honestly, the United States Army is the most successful business ever. Period. Like, and I was in long enough and I had enough interactions to really like see all this stuff up close and personal, like from the grounds up, from like how people getting paid, how finances work, and like basically accounting, how logistics work, and S1, S2, S3, I don't even know how much of that stuff I really was supposed to say. So like,
I think as long as they don't know what it is, I think we're good.
but for real, you get to see anything. Like I was in the aviation battalion. I used to fly around in Blackhawks, like on a regular Monday. Like I understand how like the not to a T, but I've had experience with like fueling jet planes and just like how the algorithm works when their flight patterns and when this plane is gonna leave and when this like I've seen that up close. Like I've just seen so many different things that it's just like I didn't even know until I started reflecting like the things that I've learned, the things that I've done, like different experiences that I've had.
Okay, so you mentioned reflecting. Uh, how did your like background prepare you to be able to go through the military and then be able to like go back and reflect? Like, what has made you able to do that?
So I don't think I'd had any preparation because I'm a weird military story because I got in trouble. So I can't tell you like I was perfect. I did this, I did that. But it's crazy because some people's perception of me is that as a soldier because I was always like the high PT score and I could shoot well and I was good at my job and this and that. But I used to get in trouble. Like I did things that were not right. And it was just crazy because like I would get in trouble and then still get promoted ahead of my peers. And then everybody would just be mad at me. Like, how is that possible? Like, how did this dude get in trouble and he's still promoted above us? And it's just kind of like, I think that was just already in me. Like, I just think like that resiliency was in me, like from my parenting or like what someone taught me, or I don't really know how else to say it, but I think I don't know if you can really prepare. Like, if you want to just leave tomorrow or next week or next month, I don't think you can really like mentally prepare for it. I think you just gotta go in and just say, nothing's gonna stop me. I know I can do this because that person did it and that person did it. Like this person before me did it. I know I can do it. Like if you just keep that kind of mindset, it's just like, because I guess that's what it really was for me. Like I know this person did it, this person did it, this person did it, and then like my mom was an example uh, before me, and like my mom was single, in the military, like a single mom, and she was the kind of person that was promoted ahead of peers and all that stuff. And I remember she had the big correspondence books with the yellow pages, and I used to read her the questions and stuff like that. So like I was way ahead of the game, but I still ended up doing dumb stuff and like getting in trouble because so if I must share, this is what really sent me on a downward spiral, right? Like I've always performed, but I would get in trouble. So I lost the closest person to me in my life, right? Which is my brother at the time. And instead of, yo, I care about you as a person, as a human being, as whatever, it was like, you don't have any leave days and we're going to the field. What? I was fairly young and new to the army at the time. I didn't know no better. And I was emotional, I was like, wasn't thinking straight. So I basically told the dude, fuck you or whatever, and walked away, right? that's the end, right? But I was just holding that shit in me, like just holding it in. I get in trouble for underage drinking.
Should I remember that? Yeah.
Now I'm on extra duty. The thing I explained to y'all earlier, and I'm thinking about death, resentment. Why the fuck did I sign my life to you motherfuckers? You know what I mean? I'm thinking about that kind of stuff over and over. And it's like the pride in me and like the self-confidence in me is just like I'm still gonna excel in this military stuff. I don't care. I got in trouble, I did whatever, but it was just like my heart was not in it at all. Like my heart was gone. Like honestly, if I didn't have my oldest kid, I would have got out then. But they kind of was playing with my brain, like, what you gonna do when you get out? You don't have your degree, and they saying all this bullshit, and I'm just like, all right. So I should have been gone. Like I know for sure, like I wanted out of there, but my brain wasn't thinking right, man. I could see reality, like I could see, like, no, this is not for me. But it was just, I don't even know how to explain it to you, man. It was just I could not make the decision that was best for me because I just feared for my future. So, but it just became harder and harder and harder and harder for me to like to be a narcissist, you know? Like that's why I always had like I did a lot of fucked up stuff, man. Like I bought a soldier a fucking fifth of Hennessy and told him, hey, if you pass your PT test, I will give you this fucking bottle of Hennessy. That is definitely wrong. Like 1000%. But that dude passed his PT test. He failed it like freaking 8 times. You know what I mean? But I know him. Right. I know what to say to motivate him. I know how to get the results from him. And he freaking passed his PT test. And it's crazy because I didn't have that narcissistic attitude and I wasn't army, you're not a person. I got results no matter what. Like I was a master fitness trainer in Fort Drum. Literally, I had 37 people that could not pass the APFT because it's so cold, you can't run. It literally gets negative 30 degrees and you're outside running and stuff like that. Like, but you can't stay for long, you know? So 37, every single one of them passed the APFT after I took charge of them to, give them extra training. But it's because like, I'll pay attention to each person. I know how I felt, how low I felt, like nobody gives a fuck about me. So I had to have that opposite approach. And that's what it was. I was pretty much the sacrificial lamb after that. Like I didn't really care. Like naturally, like I don't like to lose. So like I'm gonna go to the board, I'm gonna do good, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But my heart wasn't in it. I cared more about the people than the military. And that's not the person that they want in the military. Like you're not the guy that they want. Don't see people as people. Just see them as robots, see them as soldiers, and that's it. And that's why I got a beard.
Yeah. Talk to us, like a big thing going on right now is the race relations in America. But talk to us about like how when you're in the military, race is totally different. When you get in a platoon, you can have people you hang out with who might be Trump supporters. You got far left and far right people, as they call it, hanging out together and be best of friends.
Yeah, you just said that was gonna be one of my examples, right there. Literally, biggest Trump supporter in the world. We cool. He comment on my Facebook every day. His name Derek Jablecki, like the biggest Trump supporter in the world, but we're cool. Like it's not a really. So for me personally, like when I just look at the race relations and how like these politicians are involved, everything is very, very surface level. Like everything is, we're gonna just say this BS for the people to argue about it, but it's all irrelevant because at the end of the day, like, put it this way, I'll explain it. like I was saying earlier, the fraternity, right? So the fraternity comes above a lot of other things, like just in life. Like if that is your brother, that is your brother, right? So if someone, I love Trump, I love Trump, I love Trump, I love Trump, but you're a black dude and you're Black Lives Matter, you're Black Lives Matter. I'm gonna tell you, I like Trump, I support Trump, but it's crazy. There's like a but, but you my bro. Like it's like that's how they speak about it, that's how they see it. They don't really see Trump as this the symbol of I have to be racist if I like him or not. Like it's that's media. Like that is media. Don't get me twisted. He is not for us by no means. Like I'm not on his side, but I'm just saying the media twists that a little bit more. So that's why kind of why like that military person probably ignoring the racism part about it. They think he the best for the country. Like honestly, they really do. Like first of all, they're veterans, pro-military and things of that nature. He's probably on that side, you know what I mean? But they've also been close and personal to Black people. You know, they've been up and close and personal. Like, I mean, taking a shower butt naked next to us, you know, that kind of thing. Like we've showered naked with each other and it ain't no, I'm hiding my stuff. Like, no, like you would shower. I mean, not too crazy, but you know, like that's the kind of thing that you would do. So it's kind of like they can see past it because they have that personal experience to understand. Like, we know that we're all the same. That's the reason why they shave your head and you wear a uniform, because they want everyone to be the same. Now, there's always bad apples that's gonna get in and, you know, have messed up ideals and things like that. But that's what I was saying earlier. If it worked the way it was supposed to work, that's what it would be. It would just be a bunch of uniform people who are the same. Their shade of skin is the only thing that you're gonna see is different. You can't even, you wear a hat outside, you can't even see that we have different hairstyles. You're not supposed to have a beard unless you have a medical condition. Like we do all these things so that we are the same, and that makes it easy to see past, you know, the blurred lines of like, is this really about racism? Is this really about politics? Is it really about this? Is it really about that? Like you can automatically eliminate one if you're talking to certain people.
So it's like is it like brainwashing, you say?
Do you mean like this Trump stigma, or is that what you mean?
I guess I'm just thinking, you know, all the things that you said, you know, where we're the same, like that's what they want you to think. So it almost sounds like they're washing away your brain from like, you know, thinking or like, you know, having these things that are off focus from what they want. So I don't know. I guess like in my mind, just kind of I envision, you know, like a brain being washed from like what they want to think. You know what I mean? Um, so that's why I use that word.
Wash.
No, I get what you're saying. So most of the things are physical that they want to change. When it comes to like your actual brain, it's only one thing that they want on your mind: army. So it's definitely in some sort of way, it's kind of like being brainwashed, but I think it's for the better if the circumstances were different, if that makes sense. Like if the circumstances were different, I think it would be very positive for a person to like step away from the things that they believe, because at the end of the day, sometimes like that's what holds us back. Like that's what like basically if you focus on everything that's in your past and stuff like that, like how are you going to create a unified future? Because all of our pasts are different. Like we all come from different backgrounds and stuff like that. So if we were to focus anything on, if we were to focus on our differences, we're not going to be successful. We're not going to be unified for our future. So as people, it's gonna sound messed up, but I wish that we can do that as a culture in a way though. Like kind of just like, let's figure out what's actually good, you know, what actually works, and let's brainwash ourselves and focus on that. Like I wish that was possible, but who knows?
Shoot. Tell us a little bit how, like in the military, you can be in a platoon or you know, a company, and you might have like the smartest person next to you, and then the dumbest person on the other side.
Yep. You literally got somebody from all walks of life. You got smart people, and you got, usually you want to pair your smart person with your not so smart person. You want to pair them up. So that way, like they can balance each other out a little bit. Like I need you to help him get up to your speed. And that smart soldier gonna be annoyed and they're probably gonna hate you for it, but they don't realize that they're probably teaching someone and they're, helping the team as a whole. But even some people think that, it's just so easy to take the ASVAB and to do this and do that. And like, it's really not. It's really not. Like a lot of people actually have a hard time. And then like your job is based on your score. So the better your score is, the more options you have with your job. I mean, it also depends on the availability and stuff like that, but it's a lot harder than most people think. But you'd be surprised that some people are just like smart. I mean, like I know a dude that can, I don't know how many scores on their Rubik's Cube, but maybe like 24 is one of those with the little itty bitties. He can do it like this. Like, just like, dang. Like you can say any math equation like under the sun and he can tell you, but you just be like, wow, I didn't think that somebody that smart, good at math would want to join the military. Like you just never know. Like,
And be enlisted.
and be enlisted, exactly. So normally if you have a degree, you want to go in as an officer because you're gonna have more power, more responsibility, you can get paid more. But a lot of them don't even want to go that route because they don't like that mindset, I guess. But yeah, you just never know.
You remember that dude who got beat up by his wife in 70?
Stop it, man.
I'm not gonna say no names, but
Don't do my man. Don't do my man. Yeah. It's crazy because I'm telling you, like, we've probably seen every situation that you can imagine, like everything, like you see everything. But that's messed up though. You have to do him like that.
Hey, I ain't say no names. So he only know who he is.
So, it's crazy because I think that I was an accessory to that crime. I think I was with him like the night before or something like that.
I think Smith was a part of that too. Not like he wasn't trying to be, but
yeah,
the story.
Oh man,
I had a lot of good times in Hawaii, man. A lot of good times.
And then you talk to us about like, the things you've done, the successful things you did in the military. Do you feel like sometimes being outside of the military, transitioning, that people like underestimate how much like the things that you can do or like how successful you were? Because it was like you had a career, you were really successful at that career. Now you're transitioning to a new career and they treat you maybe like like you're a private all over again.
Yeah, that's definitely hard. Definitely. Just the nature of the profession, like I said before, some people only look at the rank, but the more rank you have, it's respect comes with it. People are gonna treat you a certain way, and you get accustomed to that. You get used to it. It's just like, dang, what happened? Now I'm just I'm nobody. I'm the bottom on the totem pole. It's definitely it's a shock. And how you were saying like the things, like the amount of things that, so man, so put it like this, I was working for the security company, right? And on the orientation, they were like showing me what to do, like showing me around. And they were like, oh, do you got it? Are you all right? You need me to walk you around? You do this? And I'm just like, bro, this is a CQ shit. Like, this is just me watching the soldiers in the barracks on my 24-hour duty. And literally, I would have to stay awake for 24 hours on this duty, like no sleep at all. So it's like, yeah, bro, this is nothing. Like that's how I feel about a lot of situations. But it's like no one cares. No one cares that you've done all these extravagant things and that you push yourself to these limits. Like you're the new dude, you know. So I kind of feel like most people complain a lot about stuff, and I'm just like, why are you complaining about that? Like, oh man, I gotta go do the parking lot up there. There's whatever, and it's just like, bro, like just get up and go do it. It's not that big of a deal. Like, bro, I've stayed awake for freaking 96 hours one time. Like literally like 96 hours straight without sleeping at all. It's just like I guess just knowing that like most people don't use most people don't meet their full like capability. Like they they're just not pushed. And I don't think society is designed to push you. And I think you really see that like the military is one of those places where you can really see that push.
Mm. So you said society's not designed to push you. So can you like go into that? Like I'm just interested in what you had to say. So like, I guess I think about kids, coming up today that aren't being pushed. You know, like how do you think that they should be pushed, or like do you see like issues with the way society's going?
So I don't think society has changed. I think it's been this way for a while, like a long time. So like just an example, like when a kid goes to school, you ask them like, what do you want to be, right? We're pretty much training them to think about working for, I don't know, a freaking capitalist society, like a government. Like we're training them to work for someone, and we're basically giving them ideas of what to do and what to be. So that's what I mean by like there's no push, because it's like we're giving our children, we're giving everyone like cookie cutter. Oh, freaking 60% of kindergarten boys say they want to be a freaking police officer. Like it's just so common. I want to be a police officer. It's just why? That's what they see on the TV all the time. That's just like what we're programmed to see it over and over and over and over and over. So just in like I was watching something on TV just now, and there was a teacher. She was at school, and she was like, "And the bell goes," and she put her hand out like to time the bell, and she got it exactly right. And I'm like, man, I used to do that in school all the time, like try to guess when the bell is going to ring. Boom. But that's just showing me that I'm just programmed to sit down in the classroom for X and Y Z amount of time, which is the same thing. Like I'm preparing myself to work a 9 to 5. The kids are eating lunch around the same time, somewhere in between 11 and 1 o'clock. Like the kids are eating lunch at school. Like it's that's just how we're designed to just want certain things and want to do certain things. But it's just like if everyone wants the same thing, who's really trying to do more? It's like only a few exceptional people. But so many more people have the potential to just do anything, but you weren't tested and it probably wasn't introduced to you. So that's what I mean. Like in the military, they're gonna introduce you to just so many different things that you're just gonna like you're gonna understand that you can do so much that it's just like, man, if I would have known I could have done all this before, then man, the sky's the limit. But that's when you got to make sure your head is on right too, to utilize your skills and things like that. Because I think that's the disconnect a lot. Like, head has to be on right in order to use your skills right. You don't want to be that dude who out there doing karate and I don't know, just tripping out. You know what I mean? Like, no, that dude probably really knew how to do something for real. Like, he probably really knew some stuff, but he's a little bit too far gone.
Has your
Yeah.
concept of time changed since you've gotten out the military?
What you mean by that?
So like I don't know about you, but I remember being in like, basic training, and even though it was only maybe what 2 or 3 months, it felt like, it was like 8 months, a year, or like the 6 years that I've been out of the military. It feels like it's gone way faster than the 6 years I was in the military. Like, what is your experience?
Um, I don't think I really have enough time to really know like the after effect because, but I definitely feel like I pay attention to time way more than I should. So
Hmm.
I think that may make things seem like they're moving quicker. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I never really thought about that for real.
I think it has something to do with like because you're working so many hours, you're getting so much more out of a day. So like the time seems longer. But then when you're, like a civilian, you're not gonna be busy every, like 12, 14. I mean, really, we're at 70th. I know for a fact we're working like 14, 15, 16 hour days regularly.
Right.
So it just feels like now you have more time that you're just chilling and that time just goes fast.
Yeah, I do. I do personally feel. Now that you say that, it does make sense because, like, personally, I feel like I have too much time, and like that's when I start thinking too much. Sometimes, like I start like. But yeah, I definitely see that because, man, I remember. You remember the time? Yeah, you were still there. We literally, I think we like rucked to the field, did some crazy stuff, set up Tanglefoot, went to like we didn't go to sleep till I don't know maybe 4 in the morning just because of what we did that day. Slept with no tents out in the rain, like in the mud, like just it raining on us, and we just sleeping in the mud. Like we used to do a lot of stuff in one day like that. It's just damn, that's it.
Like I remember 70th, and like there was a lot of people who hated 70th, and there was times where like, damn, why are we working till like 8 o'clock all the time? But at the same time, when I look back at it, it was like one of the better times, just because like I guess in like sucky situations, you bond with people a lot tighter than if everything is all good.
Definitely. So it's a thing where I always feel like your first group, like every time like your first group when you join, like obviously you was there cycles before me, but like
Mm,
that first unit, I feel
mm.
like that's where it just seems closer. Like that new experience, stuff like that. I feel like you get real tight, especially like just like I remember like my first day coming to Hawaii. So I leave from the Atlanta airport. I freaking fly to Cali, layover, boom. I'm in Hawaii, no family, no friends, nobody. And I'm literally in Hawaii across the ocean. I'm just like, what do I do? Where do I go? I just didn't understand. Like, but someone was there, like to, hey man, take me under the wing and show me around and do this and do that. And it's just like, I don't know, that is a good feeling, man. Like that is a good feeling to like just know that you don't have family, friends, or any support system, but you can look to the person to your left and right and be like, I can count on you. You got my back. Like that's a very good feeling.
Do you feel like in some ways it was like more comforting being in the military than to be outside?
Definitely not more comforting, but I feel I've made more genuine connections than most people probably get to make. Like I feel like I've met more people who are vulnerable and like show me the real them. Like not, I don't know, like people put up facades and things like that. I feel like you get to see the real, like this is who I am a lot from people. So I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just think it's definitely important, like for you to even be talking about it. I think sometimes it's like just talking about what, like has happened is helpful and, like getting to the next, point in your life. I've never been, like in the military. I've had people in the military. I was contracting, for a little bit. So I like have somewhat of an idea of the essence, but I can't imagine, like what you're going through, like what you experience and everything. I guess, I think there are people out there who have like similar mindsets to, what you experienced in the military. So I think that there are people out there who like, look for other people to help, who look at other people as human beings, and understand that like just because, people are from different backgrounds, that don't mean like, we ain't gonna get along. You know what I mean? I think it may be a little bit more rare, especially since you don't have that bonding experience. Um, but I think like in due time, like relationships like that come about, you know? And so I think like, kind of like with what Jared was saying, just like with time, I think that maybe outside of the military, things might take more time because like things aren't as concentrated. It's like you have people who have been in like, humdrum careers for 10 years. And so they're just used to doing the same thing. So they may not be like as ready to like, like be open with you. You know what I mean? Cause like they're bored with their life. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I think like I guess I just kind of wanted to, talk about that, with you. Um, and yeah, I think like talking about it is like really key too, because sometimes we just need to like let shit out. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's like there are people who like just don't care. you know, I came up here from a small town, and it was just like one of the culture shocks for me was just that like people didn't care. It's like if I made a mistake on the road, I remember one guy rolled down the window, he just, like cussing me out, and I'm just like, I'm not from here. He's like, I don't care, you know. And so it's like, I think people are just like in their lanes, and they're not necessarily like ready to intermingle with you because like sometimes they just don't care, you know. But at the same time, it may take a while to find that person who does, who shares the like your similar values, like your similar principles, I think it's just like, it just comes in like a different timing,
Yeah. Um, I definitely get what you're saying. So I don't know. I feel like I'm one of those people where it's like I can go in a room and it don't matter who in there. Like I can kind of like, okay, I can match the energy, of the room. So like I don't too much have like issues with like trying to like I guess meet the people with the similar interests and stuff like that. Because man, I don't really care about most things. So it's just like I guess I guess I just like I can't help but think that I'm supposed to educate or something. Like it's just a weird mode I'm always in because I was like, training soldiers. I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm always supposed to like, man, you can do that because of I don't know. Like that's just a weird. Do you feel like that, Jared, or is it just me? Like,
You talking about you feel like you got to train people and stuff like that,
yeah,
help
like
people out? Oh yeah, I do always feel like I got to help, somebody. Like if people ask me questions at work, it's a lot of like young developers, like they'll come in, they might not know as much, but I'll be like, I'll give you every resource I got. It's like, you know, uh there's older people there, and they're like hiding their resources, they don't want to give it away. But for me, it's like I don't really care if anybody's better than me. Like if you're meant to be better than me at something, then oh well, like that's fine. Like I don't care about this
you've always been like that though.
shit. Yeah.
That's not common though. That's not common. That's not common at all. Like I'm just really thinking like you always really kind of been like that. You always kind of was like the one. If y'all don't know, he was superior to me at one point. Just put it that way. But I used to
In
listen.
rank, that's it.
Yeah, in the rank. But yeah, I used to look sometimes and be like, okay, like I would see people just like and like the other NCOs at the time, like they were just like scared. It was like shaking. It was nervous, and it was just like I can't, whatever. And you was just always just kind of like, man, it don't really matter. Like it's gonna get done. Like it's gonna work out. Like just come on, like suck it up. So yeah,
Sounds about right.
It was just, you know what I figured out in the military was that because when I first got in, it was kind of tough because, you know, I used to have like a mean mug, I guess, and people took it the wrong way, and I just wouldn't, you know, I wasn't smiling, laughing, and joking, so they would just think like I had like this crazy ass plan. And you know, I had a good PT score. Like, I mean, I maxed my PT test when I got to 70th. I was like, okay, this is the I knew like in basic training that worked for me, but the drill sergeants were they were infantry. But obviously, you know, we weren't infantry. You know, I was a geospatial engineer, you were commo or whatnot. But we both end up in the same company. And it was just like they would keep coming at me, keep attacking me, keep trying to find a way to try to like provoke me. And then I figured out like how am I going to be successful here? I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come to work every day and I'm going to be in a good mood. I'm going to change the platoon's mood. I'm going to be laughing and joking around, dancing. Like, I don't care what, if we got E3s, E2s, I'm going to try to get them promoted, trying to work for other people. Because it was like, how am I going to be successful here if my people aren't successful? So it's like, it ain't about working for me. It's about like trying to work for other people. And I think a lot of people think life is about what you do for yourself, but a lot of times it's what you do for other people because you only have like a limit about amount of time here anyway. So and your legacy is only going to last for so long. So like how can you help other people? Like it I never really cared who really like knew my name or like I didn't want to be famous or popular or nothing like that, but I always wanted to like help other people cuz it's like that'll live on. But like my name in 20 years, I mean, like when I'm dead and gone, it won't mean anything.
yeah. So I was always real conflicted because like man, I don't know, like even you was guilty. Like everybody would always tell me, like, "Oh, you go, man, you can be this, you can be the sergeant major, and all this stuff." And it was
Mm,
just like that was fueling me to like want to do well, but I really didn't like care for like the system itself and like, oh, I'm trying to kiss the first sergeant ass to go to. I didn't really care about none of that stuff. Like most of the people who like, oh, I want to make it, I want to make E5 fast, I want to make I didn't do all of that. So like literally, it was just other people's belief in me that was making like pushing me to be like to strive. But I was kind of like that, like you as well, where it was like I want to help somebody. So like as I like, so at first when I first made E5, it was kind of like I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like so many people after they got it all together and they just I was so good. Like no, like I was borderline passive, like trying to just be cool with everybody. Like, man, you can do this, you know, whatever, whatever. But I wouldn't like be stern. I didn't have the confidence that I needed to have, you know.
mm,
But when that clicked, when the confidence clicked, that's when I went from like, oh, look at me, I'm the fastest. I got these accomplishments and whatever to let me show you how to do what I've done. Like, I think, I think just in life in general, I would have had that realization later rather than sooner without the military experience.
Right. You doing like sports and stuff.
Like I always played sports just because like my mom made sure I did it. You know, she was a single parent. You know, I had to play sports, and just naturally I was good. Like at whatever sport, I was always like the best person on my team. But like it was never a passion for me. But like naturally, just that athleticism or whatever that I have, natural like gift, or I don't know what you want to call it, but that's the first thing that makes you stand out in the military. If you're what they call a PT stud, boom, automatically like you have like the radar on you. Like everybody's gonna like pay attention to you, and like they're gonna push you. They're gonna want you to do good, because that's the hardest thing for a lot of people is, being physically fit. So, but that is also weird because a lot of people don't like that. Like a lot of people like don't like the person that's good at PT, especially if you like to talk about it. You might not even be like bragging about it or boasting. It's just like, yo, I like this. I'm passionate about it. But if someone else is envious of it, it's kind of like you're showboaty, you're braggy. So it's like the real world, like not everybody's a kiss ass, but that's the perception that goes around. Like even at your job, like it might be the one guy that you question, like, man, why you get promoted over me or whatever, it's kind of like one of those things, but usually never goes too far. Like it's just like something petty, just no one really like expresses it, or it's not like beef or anything, but I was just trying to have free.
Talk to us a little bit how, like, having served in the military and how you move a lot, but it's like you could have friends from different duty stations that y'all really click, and it's like when y'all get together again, it's almost like it's whatever year was the last time you saw each other.
That's a fact. That just goes back to like you learn people a little bit better. You just get a little bit more. You just get a little closer. Um, so if you go through all the bad stuff together, like being stressed out and like I said, sleeping in the mud and all that, it's retarded stuff. I can't say retarded like that. But if you go through all that kind of stuff, imagine how your stress relief is, like how you gonna party together and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's like two extremes. Everything is just extreme. Just put it that way. Like your relationships are gonna be like tighter. Like you're gonna party harder. You're gonna go through the stress. Like it just puts you back in that mindset of like it was extreme. Like it was an extreme time. So,
And so what's up next for you? What you got going on? Where can we get your music? Where can we listen to your music? What can we expect for you next?
so Instagram, I usually drop my music and things like that on there on Instagram. Uh, Instagram TV. Ty TY_DREWDRUGG Drew the Drug. Ty_Drew the Drug. That's Instagram.
It'll be in the description.
Yeah, it'll be in the description. Yeah, everything will be in the description, but I got music coming. It's been a work in progress, honestly, because I literally had to teach myself how to do everything, like from